Kia ora mai tātou. Tēnei te wā, ka huakina tēnei ahi mō ngā tauira e whai tohu ana. Nei tō tātou karaki e tīmatanga mō tēnei wā. Ki tātou tēra tangata ko tahi te wairua o ngā mea katoa. Ko tō wairua ko te pahere tanga o te hira tangata ki te ere atua ki te orongoru o io. Nā nei ho mai, nā nei tangota. Ka tau iau ki te tohi arangi, ka te pū ko te weo, ko te more, ko te pūkinga, ko te wānaka, ko te tauira. Tēnei te kimi no te rapu no i ngā take, i ngā ahuru. No ngā rangi tūha whakaia ka ari te uhi, wero, tau mai te mauri, aumi e hui e, tā e ki e. Au, kia ora mai tātou.
E te iwi e, whakatau mai rā.
Please be seated. Ko te pai te whiti ki mihia ki e mau, ko te pai tāta whakamawa ki e tīna, homi e hui e, tae ki e. Kia ora hu mā tātou, e nā rangatira, nau mai haramai ki tēnā kura, te kuratini o Puike. Welcome, everyone, to our graduation ceremony for the School of Business Studies this evening, and welcome to Bay Plenty Polytechnic. Haramai e nā mātua, haramai e nā hoa, haramai e nā kayako, haramai e nā tauira. Welcome to family, friends, to the staff of the School of Business Studies, and most of all, of course, to the reason why we're here this evening, to our graduating students. I'm joined on stage this evening by the chairperson of Bay Plenty Polytechnic Council, Ian Turner, by council members Paul Logan, Sylvia Williston, and Graham Young. Welcome. And also by Paul Bowker, the chairman of Bay Plenty Tourism, and Anne Pankhurst from the Chamber of Commerce, and by our Kamatua Tu Piahana and our queer Mary Fua Bennett. This is your celebration. It's a celebration that we are going to take great pride in, and you should be extremely proud of your achievements. You will see and feel as you go across the stage how proud your friends and family and staff are of what you've achieved in this year. Few of us, however, in life achieve much without the help of others, so at the outset I would like to recognise 3 groups who I believe have been instrumental in you reaching this destination this evening. And first is your family and friends who've supported, encouraged, been there for you through the good times and the bad times. Your fellow students and the collegiality and support that they've offered. And hopefully during the time you've been with us, you've actually created friendships that will last a lifetime. And I do encourage you to work hard to maintain those connections and those links. Finally, to the group of staff of the School of Business Studies, we're very fortunate at Bay Plenty Polytechnic in the calibre and the professionalism and commitment of our staff. And I would therefore like you to join with me in recognising the academic and administrative staff this evening of the School of Business Studies led by Dr. David Lyons. Just going to say a few words, one set of words about your success and about why your skills and your abilities that you leave us with are much needed by New Zealand Aotearoa. And then a couple just walking a little bit into the future and putting a couple of challenges down for you as graduates. Don't underestimate what you've actually achieved. We do not give tertiary qualifications away with Weetabix packets. They're hard earned. The commitment of time, money, and energy to what you've achieved is enormous. So be proud of that, recognise that, take that with you and make it work for you. But also make this just one stop on life's journey in terms of learning and skill development. If you look at your industry, and look particularly at the tourism and hospitality industry, it really needs your skills. Because if one looks at the performance of New Zealand as a small country at the bottom of the globe, the tourism and hospitality industry contribute in terms of international visitors, some $10 billion to our economy. Domestic tourism contributes $13 billion. So collectively, tourism and hospitality contribute some $63 million every day to the New Zealand economy. They employ indirectly about 1 in 10 New Zealanders, some 187,000 full-time equivalent people work in the tourism and hospitality industry. 2.5 million visitors come to our country as a consequence of that. And it is projected that we'll reach 3 million by 2015. So the significance of tourism cannot be underestimated at all. The tourism industry has a strategy, and the strategy is both a very ambitious one and a very encompassing one. It is to care and manage sustainably the culture and the natural and built environments of our country. And the 2 terms that they use in that strategy is kaitiakitanga, in other words, guardianship of that environment, guardianship of those taonga, and manaakitanga, which is hospitality and respecting our visitors. The only way we can continue to survive and prosper at the bottom of the Southern Hemisphere is by giving our visitors a world-class experience. And that's not just through the natural taonga of our country, but it's the service and the way in which we greet and serve them during their time with us. We have a fantastically successful national brand, 100% pure. Now, whilst that's the brand for Tourism New Zealand, it is, of course, an all-encompassing country brand. And it depends on the performance of the whole country. And we've seen that just recently with the Fonterra botulism scare, with the tainted baby powder in China. All of those actions, distant and connected, with the tourism industry can have a profound effect on the tourism and hospitality industry itself. In having such a laudable and ambitious strategy in terms of caring for our culture sustainably and our natural and built environments, it means the industry itself has to examine its performance. So in terms of conservation, in terms of energy efficiency, in terms of waste management, it is beholden on the tourism and hospitality industry to set the standards. But it is also dependent on a range of other strategies from other government agencies and other industry sectors, whether it be biosecurity, whether it be the digital strategy, the transport strategy, the emissions, the energy strategies, the decision that Auckland will be an international city and the strategy to develop that. All of those have an impact on the performance of our country in the tourism and hospitality sector. It tends to be a misnomer that the issue in tourism and hospitality is the workforce. I would rather suggest to you that in looking into the future, it is not the workforce so much as the workplace. We have to find better ways of investing in the skills of our people so that we can give each and every one of our visitors to our beautiful country a world-class experience, from when they land to when they leave. In doing that, we have to develop the profitability of our industry and our businesses, and we have to achieve that through improved productivity. Only then will we be able to find the investment and the investors for our tourism industry development. And then will come equitable work conditions and salaries and the growth and performance of our sector contributing to the New Zealand economy. So you see, you go into a sector that is vitally important to New Zealand, and you go into a sector that hopefully will develop for you motivation, career pathways, and fair return for your ambitions and your hard work and commitment. Just like to focus on your future in terms of as you leave for graduates from this institution. And I'd like to use a quote that says that education is the most powerful weapon we have for change in the world today. And that quote was made by Nelson Mandela. And it's therefore appropriate, I think, that I say a few brief words about that great leader. Nelson Mandela was brought up in oppression and injustice, in a rigid apartheid regime in South Africa. He spent 27 years in prison for his values and his beliefs in Robben Island. And when he came out after those 27 years, he came out with forgiveness and caring and humility and enormous strength. And he became the first democratically elected Prime Minister of South Africa. And he developed and implemented a vision for the unity of that rainbow nation that took them out of the darkness that it was facing. He has left a towering memory for our leaders throughout the world and for each and every one of us. Someone said that the oppression and the injustice that he suffered before and during his prison sentence for 27 years had melted his courage with forgiveness. And out of that, he had forged the spirit of reconciliation. And it was that reconciliation that he came out with and produced, and that he devoted to leading his country out of the abyss. I'd just like to give 3 very short quotes that are very pertinent to this evening's celebrations, again from Nelson Mandela. And the first one is really directed at our politicians, albeit our politicians in Wellington, not our local politicians, Ross. And sorry, I think I may have omitted Ross Patterson, joining us on the stage this evening, the Mayor of Western Bay Plenty District Council. My apologies. And that is that even in the most austere fiscal environment, education is much, much more than just an expense. The second one is a statement on our society, and it says that we owe it to our children, the most vulnerable portions of our society, that they should be able to live their life free of violence and fear. And the third was about himself. And he said, "Judge me not by my successes, but by the number of times I fell down and got back up again." And finally, at the heart of society values, social equity is the only basis for human happiness. We can learn a lot from the way in which Nelson Mandela emerged from 27 years of incarceration. And I think his memory and his practice will live long into, hopefully, our leaders and each and every one of us. As you graduate this evening, I've already said, be proud of what you've achieved. Don't underestimate it. Take it with you and make it work for you. Make it only one step on the journey. You are now a role model. You're a role model for others in your whānau, in your society, in your community, as to the importance of tertiary education. You are an influencer. There are many like you who are apprehensive about starting in tertiary education, who may not have had a good experience in secondary schools. You are the influencer and the model that they can look to make that first brave step. And once they make that step, like you, success breeds further success and confidence. It is important that you maintain your goals and your ambitions. Don't let anyone talk down how ambitious you want to be. Whaia te ita kaharangi, ki te tuahu, koe mehe mona teite. If and when you have to bow your head, make it to the loftiest peak. The final comment I would have in terms of looking into your future is take your attitude, your values, your knowledge, and apply it to being an active citizen of this country, an active member of your community, an active member of your society. Be prepared to stand up and speak out for those who are less fortunate and more vulnerable than you. Whether it's the homeless, whether it's the needy, whether it's the poor, whether it's the disabled, whether it's the sick. They can't speak for themselves, many of them. They do need a voice. Stand up and be that voice. Steve Jobs, chief executive of Apple, said, "Believe in yourself. Live your life, not what someone else believes should be your life. And most of all, don't let the opinion of others drown out your inner voice. Have the courage, have the belief to go with your heart, to go with your intuition. Be brave, go out there and make a difference." Kia kaha, kokoto, kuapapo. Be brave because you are our people of tomorrow. It's been a privilege to have you as students at Bay Plenty Polytechnic, and I thank each and every one of you for the contributions that you have made during your time with us. And many of us have been fortunate to experience firsthand through the Atrium Restaurant the skills and the quality of what you can now produce, even if it has added to our waistlines considerably. So the karakia I opened with said, "Ko te pai te whiti kimi hia kia mau, ko te pai tata whakamaua kia tina." Seek your future in distant horizons, but hold fast to the gifts and the skills that you have and build on them. Nā mi o te wā, me he tō hau. Have a very happy Christmas and a very successful New Year in 2014. Nō reira e homa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. And it gives me great pleasure to now welcome the head of the School of Business Studies, Dr. David Lyon.